Hello everyone! Artists have a really neat trick up their sleeves. The line. Lately I've noticed that beginners, even those who are really into it, often use it the wrong way. Most newbies tend to see the outline first, draw it, and think strictly in terms of that outline. Meanwhile, seasoned artists take a different approach. They try to build a three-dimensional model of the object using their lines and think in 3D during the process. The main rule here is pretty simple. See what you're drawing in terms of form, not just the outline. How do you do that? There are a few ways. The easiest one is using primitives. Almost every good drawing tutorial suggests, let's grab some primitives and start drawing based on them. How does it work? Nearly all objects have some kind of dimensional container. There are 4 main containers: sphere, box, cylinder, and cone. Look around you and try imagining objects as these shapes. Use your imagination. Then draw something in this way. A couple of quick sketches are enough to get the hang of it. Someone might ask, why bother? I can draw just fine without all that. Well, using a reference? Maybe. I also sometimes like to kick things off with a precise contour sketch, but only when I work on portraits to capture the likeness. But then, I shift my focus to the 3-dimensional aspect. I'll walk you through that shortly. However, when it comes to drawing, not copying or painting, it's still smarter to begin with basic shapes. To highlight the perks of this method, let's break down an example. Imagine we want to draw a small tower. How would a beginner typically approach this task? Like this. They begin with a silhouette, outline the dimensions, then try to fit something inside. The result? A shaky drawing that just doesn't feel right. An experienced artist will quickly spot that many elements don't align in perspective. For instance, the arch edges are too sharp. They should be more like ellipses. The tower's base ends up flat, and there's more to it. It's tricky for a newbie to notice because they haven't mastered thinking in 3 dimensions. So, we kick off with primitives. Simple cones, cylinders. It's much easier to sketch these in perspective than a tower right away. Cross-hatching comes in handy to draw the curvature of masonry, shingles, and everything else accurately. Now, what about drawing more complex shapes, like a portrait? Even with an intricate and varied relief or many curves, you can still fit the head into some containers. For instance, into 2 spheres or a sphere plus a box. Then, you mark proportions on this structure, and only then do you work on the form more precisely. Different art schools may have different approaches. Some academy teachers draw geometry with planes. Yes, the famous Houdon method. Or you can start with anatomy, or dive into drawing geometry with tone right away. Actually, it doesn't matter which option you choose. The principle is what counts. Think 3-dimensionally, in volumes. Going back to my drawings, I also transition from silhouettes to volumes. How? I lay down strokes. Each stroke gives information about the surface, where it sticks out, where it's concave, and where it's convex. This way, I study the shape from the reference. Over time, tonal contrasts emerge, and at that moment, even for many beginners, it's like their consciousness switches to volumes, as if on cue. Definitely try out what I showed you today. Until next time.